Elderly woman fatally struck by train in Taoyuan. Japan's Takaichi. No excuse for China's aggression toward Taiwan. Taiwan nears nuclear-free goal as concerns over power supply rise. Car ramming in Vancouver. Pope Francis's funeral held a moral mirror to modern politics. Trump thinks Zelensky ready to give up Crimea to Russia. World's tallest abandoned skyscraper to resume after a decade. Letter written aboard Titanic sells for almost $400,000 at auction.
Hello everyone, I'm Oceana. Thank you for joining us on Funday News. It is Tuesday, April 29th, International Dance Day, and here are your top stories. In local news, an elderly woman believed to be around 80 years old was fatally struck by a southbound TRA local train near Neili Station in Taoyuan at 6:41 a.m. this morning. Surveillance footage showed that she had entered the tracks on her own. Police pronounced her dead at the scene, and the incident remains under investigation. The accident caused delays on the TRA Western Line. After evidence was collected by 7:24 a.m., the train was cleared to depart at 8:08 a.m. Japanese lawmaker Sanae Takaichi met President Lai Ching-te in Taipei, stressing stronger Japan-Taiwan ties in defense, economic security, and democracy. She emphasized the importance of peace in the Taiwan Strait and said China must not be given an excuse to invade. Takaichi is leading a delegation visiting Taiwan from April 27th to April 29th. As Taiwan prepares to decommission its final reactor at the third nuclear power plant on May 17th, scholars warn of over-reliance on fossil fuels. Minister Guo Zhihui defended the shift to low-carbon gas and renewables. A 100 billion NTD subsidy to Thai Power has also sparked opposition criticism over hidden budget allocations. And in global news, police have charged a 30-year-old man with 8 counts of second-degree murder after a car was driven into a crowd at a street festival in Vancouver, Canada. The attack at the annual Lapu-Lapu event, which celebrates Filipino culture, left 11 dead and dozens more injured. Work to identify some victims was continuing on Sunday evening, and investigators said the suspect, Kaiji Adam Low, a resident of the city, was likely to be charged with further murders.
The festival organizers said the city's tight-knit Filipino community was grieving, and that the attack's impact would be felt for years to come. Investigators have yet to reveal a motive for the attack but said they do not believe it was an act of terrorism. The suspect was known to the police and had a history of mental health problems. The festival in Vancouver takes place every year to commemorate Lapu-Lapu, a national hero who resisted Spanish colonization in the 1500s. Tens of thousands of people were in attendance at the event. The attack came just before Canada's federal election on the 28th of April, prompting Prime Minister Mark Carney to cancel large gatherings of Liberal Party supporters in Calgary and Richmond.
Even in death, Pope Francis's moral voice rang out across the world, with 40,000 packed into Vatican City's St. Peter's Square, another 250,000 in surrounding streets, and millions more watching on TV and online. World leaders, including President Donald Trump, were reminded of Francis's central message during his funeral on Saturday. Francis often railed against the geopolitical tides, urging more compassion for immigrants and refugees at a time when the White House and other governments were cracking down.
He called for an end to the war in Gaza and denounced climate change and exploitative capitalism, crises that have only intensified. Under warm, blue skies with the world watching, the homily was a reminder of Francis's often lonely voice in a world characterized by economic and military hard power. It also brought to mind the unspoken questions, at least on this day, about whether the late pontiff's replacement will continue these progressive notes or revert to a more conservative bent. The relatively simple funeral for Francis was attended by about 170 heads of state and other dignitaries. Trump sat among Ukraine's Volodymyr Zelensky, France's Emmanuel Macron, Brazil's President Luis Inácio Lula da Silva, and Britain's Prince William.
U.S. President Donald Trump has said he thinks his Ukrainian counterpart, Volodymyr Zelensky, is willing to give up Crimea to Russia as part of a peace deal, despite Kyiv's previous rejections to any such proposal. Asked if he thought the Ukrainian president was ready to cede control of the southern peninsula, which was illegally annexed by Russia in 2014, Trump replied, "I think so." Trump also urged Russian President Vladimir Putin to stop shooting, sit down, and sign a deal to end the fighting, suggesting this could be achieved within 2 weeks.
Zelensky ready to give up Crimea, do you think, Mr. President?
Oh, I think so, yeah. Look, Crimea was 12 years ago. That was President Obama. They gave it up without a shot being fired. So don't talk to me about Crimea. Talk to Obama and Biden about Crimea.
He made the comments to reporters after returning from the Vatican, where he held a brief meeting with Zelensky before Pope Francis's funeral. Trump said the meeting had gone well, and that Crimea had been discussed very briefly. He also said that Zelensky now seemed calmer, in what could have been a reference to a very public clash between the two presidents at the White House in February. Ukraine has repeatedly rejected making any territorial concessions, stressing that issues about land should only be discussed once a ceasefire is agreed upon. Neither Zelensky nor Russian President Vladimir Putin has publicly responded to Trump's latest comments.
According to Chinese state media, construction of the world's tallest unoccupied skyscraper may resume as early as next week, almost 10 years after work ground to a halt. The 597-meter-tall Golden Finance 117, which topped out in the northern Chinese port city of Tianjin, but has stood unfinished since 2015 amid major financial difficulties, is now expected to be completed in 2027. At 117 stories high, the tower was set to be China's tallest skyscraper when it broke ground in 2008.
The project came to a standstill following the 2015 Chinese stock market crash, which plunged the future of Hong Kong-based Golden Properties Holdings into doubt. The real estate developer, whose founder Pan Sutong was once among Hong Kong's richest businessmen, has since gone into liquidation. A new construction permit, which reportedly lists a contract value of almost 569 million yuan, suggests that the defunct developer's title may have been dropped from the building's name. It is unclear whether plans for the super-tall skyscraper's use remain unchanged. Over the last decade, abandoned skyscrapers littering China's skylines have become emblematic of the country's real estate woes.
A letter card penned by one of the Titanic's most well-known survivors from aboard the ship days before it sank was sold for $399,000 at auction. In the note, written to the seller's great-uncle on April 10, 1912, first-class passenger Archibald Gracie wrote of the ill-fated steamship. "It is a fine ship, but I shall await my journey's end before I pass judgment on her." The letter was sold to a private collector from the United States on Saturday. The hammer price far exceeded the initial estimated price of £60,000.
The letter is believed to be the sole example in existence from Gracie written on board the Titanic, which sank off Newfoundland after hitting an iceberg, killing about 1,500 people on its maiden voyage. Auctioneer Andrew Aldridge described it as an exceptional museum-grade piece. Gracie, who jumped from the ship and managed to scramble onto an overturned collapsible boat, was rescued by other passengers aboard a lifeboat and was taken to the RMS Carpathia. He went on to write The Truth About the Titanic, an account of his experiences after returning to New York City. The letter was postmarked in Queenstown, Ireland, one of 2 stops the Titanic made before sinking.
The answer for yesterday was A, escalate. The conflict between the two countries began to escalate after both sides refused to negotiate. Did you answer correctly? Now let's delve into today's news. Pope Francis' funeral held a moral mirror to modern politics. Number 1, intensify. 加剧, 强化. The conflict between the two countries began to intensify as both sides refused to negotiate. Number 2, revert. 使回复原状. When negotiations failed, both parties reverted to their initial positions. Number 3, exploitative. 剥削的, 利用他人的. The workers were subjected to exploitative conditions with long hours and low pay. Next, we have a multiple choice question for everyone to practice. Which answer would you choose? You can write your answer in the comment section, and the correct answer will be announced tomorrow. The art of dance is one of the earliest and longest-standing forms of entertainment and community activity known to humankind. While it continues to be practiced by millions of people daily, International Dance Day is a precise moment in the calendar where everyone is invited to take part in an extremely enjoyable pastime, even those with two left feet. And that's all for today's Funday News. Be sure to tune into Funday News from Monday to Friday and click the link below to join Funday for free. I'm your host, Oceana, and I'll see you next time.